been a very long time since I've posted anything here on this website. It's been a very long time since I've told a story like this. And I've decided that whenever I go walking, or whenever I'm out and about, or whenever really, when I feel like telling a story, I shall tell a story. And then I'll post it online, on YouTube, or send it to friends, or both. So to get me back into the swing of it, I've decided that instead of telling a story, I'll read a story. And I'm reading this story out of my first book, my second book, Clay Tree Bird, which is a book of my own stories. And this one is the clay part of the Clay Tree Bird. And I'm going to read it. I have accompaniment, as you can hear. The Clay. One warm, late summer afternoon, sitting beneath a tree in a garden, a potter was preparing to throw a lump of clay onto the wheel in front of him. His bare right foot, swaying gently back and forth, measured the resistance of a larger wheel at the base of a vertical axle that turned another higher, smaller wheel before him. On the bench beside him lay a damp cloth. The only tools he had or needed were his hands. The tree was wide and sprawling. The potter liked to work there, as he had plenty of room to move around, and the shade protected him from the sun. Sitting there brought back memories of being in the village church as a child. Instead of being enclosed by symbols of death and images of suffering, there under the tree the potter was surrounded with life. The tree was old, and one or two of the lower branches were no longer alive. The potter would never cut them out, because he did not want to disturb anything. Thus, beneath the loosened bark of one of those branches, a host of insects had made their homes. As he contemplated the clay, a fragment of the bark fell onto the wheel. He looked up and saw the bare section of the branch and the insects scrambling about, looking for a place to hide. He smiled and turned back to his wheel. He did not think to move, because he knew that by sitting there he would not be bothered by falling bark again. There was none left to fall. His focus returned to the turning wheel. Then, onto it, he threw a lump of clay. From another limb of the same tree, a young bird was eyeing the feast. Scuttling around the branch above the potter's head, the bird was eager to feed, but was also wary of the human presence and the danger that might mean. The danger that might mean. His tail quivered as he bobbed up and down, tutting in agitation. He seemed to be measuring the distance to and back from his meal. Alternately, the bird observed the man and then the insects. He was caught in a quandary, and he was hungry. The potter, whilst being aware of the bird with its impatient, juvenile twittering, concentrated on turning the wheel, the rhythm of which seemed to calm the bird a little. The mass of clay found its form. The potter paid no heed to anything but his commitment. The bond between the earth and his hands, which moved, seeking not simply to impose his will and form the clay, but rather to seek its form. He sought the points that required a gentler touch, those where they should be firm. The clay, working through the unhurrying hands of the potter, began to take the shape of a low, almost perfectly round bowl. The bird, realizing the man was fully absorbed in his task and consequently harmless, suddenly spread his wings. A short flight, dipping almost to the man's shoulders, took him across to the dead branch. The feast was his. Directly below, mindful of the bird's presence and closeness, the potter did not react in any way. He quietly held the rhythm of the turning wheel, to which the tap, tap, tapping of the bird taking the insect seemed to resonate. The potter's slippery wet hands on the side of the bowl rose up as if they were proffering a gift up to the far sky above and beyond the tree. And for a while the bird, and the potter remained separated by their own instincts, held in the same dimension, woven in a shared existence. An insect fell onto the lip of the bowl. The potter carefully, with the nail of his little finger, removed and set it on the ground beside him. The bird, disturbed by this movement, the change in the circumstances, flew out of the tree and was gone. The potter heard its wings hitting the air, sounding like that of someone in the distance shaking out a cloth. When he saw that the bowl could not be improved upon, the potter stared at it for a while, observed it. More than satisfied, he was happy, and he placed it in the sun to dry. Clay, tree, bird.